Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second day of the BU Challenge, the live challenge. I'm Colleen Coles. I'm so excited to bring you today's major topic, which is all about relationships. So I want to be totally transparent here. Not that it totally matters, especially because you'll probably be watching this replay. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties, so I'm going to share this out really quick. And to the people who couldn't see it. So it'll just take a minute, and lucky for you, you're watching the recording, so you can skip this part. Just telling my helper to go share this out. Awesome. Okay. All right, everybody, this is like hashtag surrender, right? So going with the flow. So I cannot wait to share with you this big topic of really being ourselves, not just in the context of the world in which we live, but in the context now, bringing it closer to home of being in relationships. And honestly, like, we're all in multiple relationships, right? With our family, with our friends, with our lover, with ourselves, and the different pieces of ourselves and what we think is okay or not okay. And so what I want to cover in this video of this BU challenge is about really how to get out of kind of negative patterns that show up in our relationships when we don't mean to keep repeating it, but like the same lessons, the same challenges keep coming up, and how to really break through that pattern. Why being authentic in relationships is the best thing you can do for your people that you love and yourself and the planet at large, even if it feels like it could totally ruin the relationship and leave those that you love behind. I'm going to bust through that today. And also just extend out to all of our relationships why it can feel so scary to really be ourselves in any relationship, and how even if it might seem unrelated to living out our bigger purpose, this aspect of how we act in relationships is directly tied to what we'll be willing to do out in the world with a bigger purpose making a difference. Okay, so here we go. So if you're live, definitely let me know in the comments just by posting the live, or if you're watching the replay of this, definitely let me know with, hey, I'm watching the replay. And I would love to hear what you're really looking forward to getting out of this video today, okay? What do you really want to learn? Even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and let me know in the comments. What are you really ready to learn, break through out of your relationship dynamic in your world, okay? Because maybe you're somebody who tends to attract in somebody who just is not the right fit. Or you have like a little bit of awareness now that you're starting to notice some negative patterns, right? Or like it feels weird, but every time I invite somebody into my world, I'm the most confident person. I feel alive. I feel unstoppable. And when I get into that relationship, I close down. Or I stopped saying everything I want. That was kind of my pattern in dating. I would be this like super confident person, but as soon as I kind of like started really seriously dating somebody, I would just kind of morph over a period of time into somebody I thought he wanted me to be. And so I would start to hear myself say, no, I don't really want to do that. And then actually say and hear myself say, yeah, it's fine. Or not speak my opinion, where that was the thing that attracted him to me in the first place. But noticing I felt this little girlness inside that made it feel unsafe to speak what I wanted to say. And so what would happen is I would instead just like nod and agree and kind of be in this numb place. And then he'd kind of get like bored, right? Or he wouldn't respect me as much. And then that would just perpetuate the problem until one of us split, or it didn't feel like a good fit anymore. And then this cycle would continue again. So maybe you're in that. Maybe for you, it's even more negative of like, knowing your past, knowing you've had, like abuse or alcoholic parents or anything like that, that stuff that now you're seeing in your relationships. And it's so frustrating because you feel like you can't get out. So there's lots of different ways on the spectrum. And even outside of the dating realm, just being in relationships where you feel like you can't be yourself. So say you're with your mom and you just want to share like what you're finally ready to produce in the world, right? Like, I'm going to start a blog and it's going to so help so many women, expand their personal power through my story, but it doesn't feel safe to share, right? Like, that is a relationship too. And the capacity in which we're willing to share whatever it is of who we are to those outside of us is the capacity that we're willing to shine our light and take bold action to really do what we would love to do. Yesterday and day one of this series, I covered why it's so important in this time period right now for you to truly do what you'd love to do and be who you are in your uniqueness, magnificence, in your weirdness, in your silliness, and all that makes you you. Now is the most important time on the planet to do that, and it will also be what gives you freedom, even though it feels so scary to do. And so watch yesterday's video for sure so you can kind of get that context of what I'm talking about today and why it's so important. And so if you're here, I want you to just like tune in and share in the comments if you want, or if you're, feeling brave to share and owning it, where you feel kind of stuck in your relationships. Is it with this cycle of repeating old negative patterns in your dating or intimate world? Or in a different sense, whether you're in a partnership or you have close family and friends, it shows up everywhere. What I mean by that is where we feel stuck from sharing our truth, that shows up everywhere. It's just in different degrees. And so for me, after getting married, the whole dating thing, that wasn't an issue anymore, right? It wasn't an issue. But now that just a few years back, I thought I had mastered this thing of like getting clear on what I wanted to do and like starting to make it happen. But what I noticed was, even though I had the clarity, even though I had the vision and the tools to be able to start to do this, I wasn't really doing it yet. Like nothing was getting traction yet. And so, let's see here. All right, hold on, tech glitch. Okay, Shali is my buddy. Okay, so, awesome. So as I started to grow my vision of what I wanted to do, what I noticed was that in my relationships, it wasn't so dramatic as it had been before. Like I felt like I was with the right person, right? Like I felt that I didn't make a mistake and he's the one for me. And yet I didn't get this correlation between being authentic fully and saying what I needed to say in my romantic relationship with also feeling safe to be myself in the world, okay? I think a lot of people that I've helped, a lot of people that I know, and who then come out with massive breakthrough, like tell me and show me, and maybe this is you too, like it feels unsafe to fully shine. It feels unsafe to really be ourselves in the world. Whether that's a very intuitive person that you are, whether it's the like baby creation that you want to bring out into the world, whether it's your brashness or your opinion, whatever the case may be, where we get stuck is how we really show up as ourselves in relationships. And the good news is that when we can start to uproot the places we feel stuck in relationships, that then will grow a whole new beautiful plant, a whole new beautiful you, because the same root that was keeping you stuck, when it's uprooted, will give it life, will give you life into creating the project you said you wanted to do, or finally getting clarity. That's what we talked about yesterday, was getting clarity in what you even want and what it takes to get clarity, right? So go watch that video so you can really know what that is. And really step 2 is, once you have that clarity and you're really living yourself, the only thing I've really noticed that can stop us from doing that are these things. So let me know if you feel this way. Caring what other people think about it once you decide to do what you want to do. Thinking people will judge you as selfish for going after you doing what you want to do, and that will probably require more time, right? Or people thinking, just like judging you, thinking you're selfish, and not loving you anymore. Like, that's kind of the bottom line, not loving you anymore, and to the extreme of like, they might not be here for me and I won't be able to be okay. So tune into yourself. What feels true for you? Because where we feel safe is where we feel we can be connected to the group. Okay, this is like some deeper stuff that I get into in my one-on-one courses and in my group coaching. But just for now, just tune into that energy of asking yourself, why does it feel so scary to actually shine? Why does it feel so scary to actually just do what you want, right? And so get clear on those, because as you can see those pop up, you can then start to at least notice where this like plant is rooting from, right? And then from that awareness, start to take different actions, okay? So I want to talk about now what it takes to really call in relationships that light you up. What does it take to call in relationships that only mirror your authenticity, and that, just like you're supporting yourself now, would only support you as well? Okay, so this is more for the person who, if you were like me, either attracted in people over and over and over again, who I ended up unconsciously feeling like I had to change for. And maybe even for you, if you've had like more serious abuse, or you know those patterns already, and maybe not, but like it was some gunk up in your life. Like it was some gunk that now you're seeing, I only attract in people like my dad, or I only attract in people that will cheat on me, or I only attract in people that will leave me. Like, if whatever the case may be, if you just feel not yourself and not your flow, I want to tap in why that can happen and how to really overcome it, okay, by being you. Okay, so many times we feel afraid to be ourselves because we think somebody will leave us or it's not safe, triggering back from those past traumas, little t or big T traumas from our childhood. Even if it's from somebody in 6th grade saying you look stupid in that t-shirt, okay, that stuff really does carry on the whole gamut of how we could feel that triggeredness. And so here's the really cool thing. Whatever caused us to feel like we can't shine, it's not safe to be ourselves, we kind of come up with new ways to protect ourselves, right? And we think, okay, so if I do it this way, if I'm not so pretty, or if I'm not so smart, where then my friends will leave me, or I'm not so ambitious, where this guy will get intimidated, I can then feel safe because then like he'll stick around. Right? So what ends up happening through these times in our childhood, right, where we felt we needed to put on a mask, we put on the mask and we start to feel a little bit more comfortable, right? Like, this is what society does. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what feels cool, right? Whatever the case may be, dating, relationships, friendships, family. We put on these masks, right? And the good news, by the way, is that you're still whole and complete in here. But when we put on the mask, it feels like we're incomplete. And we start to do negative self-talk and not really like ourselves. Because the truth is, we're not being ourselves. But it's because we want to feel safe with other people. So we have all these masks on our whole and complete self, that shining, brilliant person inside that feels too vulnerable to break out free. And yet, we keep attracting in kind of negative relationships. Why is that? And how can being authentic be the medicine you need, even though it feels like the most scary thing you can do? Well, here we go. I was driving from Charlottesville to Richmond last weekend and starting to listen to Dr. Shefali's book, Conscious Parenting. And she tapped on this with our kids in our relationships, being that mirror for us. Now, what's so brilliant is like this bottom line kind of metaphor here. When we have masks on, people, when we really have masks on, we're only going to get what we give to the world. So if I put out a mask, I'm only going to attract in another mask, right? I'm only going to attract in people who aren't in integrity with themselves, who aren't feeling it's okay to be themselves, who are vulnerable inside yet have this like edge and then get mad at you and repeat the pattern. They're only going to mirror what you're not willing to integrate within yourself. And so then we have these people that are fake to us over time because we're being fake to ourselves. And yet it can feel so scary to break from that. Now here's the medicine though. When you're willing to be authentic, you're only going to attract in authentic people into your life. Like attracts like, right? And so this is what creates the pattern. We think it's safer to create ourselves under a mask with these beliefs, right? Which is why it can be so powerful to do inner work or guided work with others who have an objective sense of this. So we have these masks and then we go out into the world with the mask, but we're not going to attract in who is actually our soulmate or who's actually, going to be best for us, even with negotiations and like who you want to write your blog with. When we are willing to take off that mask and show our authenticity and also see like we're okay for doing it, nothing, like you didn't die, nothing happened here, like you're okay being on your own, being authentic, being free, you're only going to attract in people who are authentic also. So if you want to break the pattern, you got to break the pattern of being fake to yourself, right? Because only when we can bring that authenticity is when we will attract in the people who are really meant for us, who are really longing to be with us, but they just can't find us, right? So let me know in the comments, like how that lands for you, right? Like, does that feel kind of impossible? Because the truth is, like, sometimes it can be scary, right? Which is the last thing I wanted to touch on today. Now we know how we can break that cycle, right? But maybe it still feels scary to do it, right? The best way that we can help the planet is by being our truest selves. It doesn't feel safe because we were made fun of it, or it felt like we hurt other people by being so awesome or shiny or bright, and that we could be left behind. And this is why relationships, even when we're focused on a business or focused on being true to ourselves or focused on this authenticity, why relationships also comes into play. Because this is what I want you to take away from today, is that our dynamic in relationship is what can drive us to feel safe enough to express this truth or not. It's through relationships that as a physiological, biological human, we feel it's okay and safe to venture out or it's not. And so this dynamic in relationships, whoa, this table just moved, is what can help like show you that you are safe even just with yourself, right? Like you are safe and will be safe even if somebody left you because you're so awesome, which is really hard to like break down. But the bottom line and why self-love is so important is because everything we're trying to get from other people is something we can already give to ourselves. Like everything. The financial stability, the words of affirmation we're longing to hear. Like I always love it when my husband says, "I love you, Colleen," but sometimes he doesn't say it. And then I used to get really mad at him, like he owes it to me. But why does it feel like he owes it to me? Because I'm not doing it for myself. So when I do this for myself first, that's when I don't need to hear it from him. It's kind of like a bonus. And guess what? When it feels like a bonus, it doesn't feel I need him to be okay. And all of a sudden, we've established the foundation for a super healthy relationship where it's two full people coming to the table rather than two incomplete feeling people dealing with this exchange and this currency of you owe me this because I did this for you. Like, who has time to focus on their purpose in that energy? And so with knowing that this feeling of being abandoned, left behind, not loved in relationships can distract us totally from our purpose, the antidote to that, just knowing that, is that you can give yourself everything you need through the self-love of what you're trying to get from another person, okay? I had a client recently who had one of the biggest breakthroughs, realizing she didn't need this guy to date anymore because she was ready to give everything she wanted from him in the past to herself. It was like when we started, she was like so not with feeling she was even worthy to give herself love and nice, kind words. And so she had to kind of break and bend for the different guys so that they would like her. Why? So that they would give her the love she felt she needed to fill up. Right? Watch yesterday's video with my water demonstration. And so when we start to flip it and really get it into your bones that you have everything you need, you can literally give yourself everything you need through the self-love you're willing to keep turned on for you, through the way that you talk to yourself, through what you do to yourself, through everything that you're wanting from somebody else. All of a sudden, it was like for her, we both came to the same conclusion at the same moment, that it was like, why don't you care that he says that to you? Why don't you care that he gives you that currency? And she was like, because I don't need it. Like, it was like, because she was already giving it to herself, right? So with that, self-love can be the key. And you might already know that, which is why next video tomorrow, I want to talk more about your own self-expression in the world through the self-love and how that can even be the antidote for everything we're talking about. Being you can be so scary. It can feel so scary. And yet when we realize it's safe to do that and that you're actually going to help people the most through you doing that, and that you can still have great relationships like we talked about today with taking off the mask and attracting in authentic people who actually match our soul, that's when we can become free. That's when we can become supported in how we feel. And so tomorrow we're going to talk more about how to even do that more for ourselves so that you really have the foundation to just be yourself, feel free, go out in the world doing what you love, take the actions you need, and having relationships that don't make you feel like you owe them something or they owe you something. You're already giving it to yourself. So thank you so much for watching. I want you to write me in the comments your one major takeaway from this video today, whether you're watching the live or the replay. Let me know in the comments what you said, and I'm gonna see some comments over here. Auda says, thank you, Colleen, for doing this. You mentioned that for most of us, it is hard to shine. Why is that? Great question, Auda. It's because when we were little, we felt like in order to stay a part of the pack, there was like a severing. This is like content I've taught in group programs that can take literally 2 hours. But the bottom line is that we didn't feel safe being ourselves because there was a moment or multiple moments that made it feel like we would be left behind if we were our brilliant selves, if we were our bright self. And because that can be the scariest thing physiologically, to be left alone, we learn how to lock it up so that we don't shine too bright, you know? So it's undoing that and seeing that you're actually safe and you won't die if you are yourself shining bright. Geneva says, I found you, woohoo! All right, so tomorrow we're doing day 3 of the BU challenge out of 4. So exciting. This is gonna be the juicy one. And watch yesterday's video. We had a tech issue today. So yesterday it was on YouTube. Today it's on Facebook. We're gonna find out where it is tomorrow. But you can join the list to make sure you get the right link tomorrow by joining my community at colleencoles.com. So you make sure, just join my freebie and then you'll be added into the list to get to the link. That's my hope. We're figuring out the tech, but we got this, we got this. All right, you guys, write me in the comments. I'll respond to you personally and I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. Take care.